America's 250th birthday. What strong communities have always had in common? As America approaches its 250th birthday, communities across the country are reflecting on the nation's history. Most of those conversations focus on the people who built America. James M. Vasselli believes the more important lesson comes from the people who built communities they would never live long enough to see completed. Throughout his career advising municipalities, local officials, and public bodies, Vasselli has worked with leaders responsible for decisions that may not fully reveal their impact for years or even decades. A road improvement project. A downtown redevelopment plan. An infrastructure investment. A land use decision that shapes future growth. The specifics vary from one community to another. The principle remains remarkably consistent. The strongest communities are usually led by people who understand they are temporary stewards, Vasselli says. Their responsibility is not simply to manage today's challenges. It's to leave the community in a stronger position for the people who come next. That mindset has helped define America's most successful communities for 250 years. It may be even more important during the next 250. The best communities think beyond their own generation. One of the patterns Vasselli has observed throughout his municipal law career is that strong communities rarely focus exclusively on immediate concerns. Every local government faces pressure to address current issues. Budget constraints. Infrastructure demands. Economic development opportunities. Political disagreements. Those challenges are unavoidable. What separates thriving communities from struggling ones is often how leaders balance present needs against future responsibilities. There is always pressure to focus on the issue directly in front of you, Vasselli explains. The leaders who make the biggest difference are often the ones willing to ask how today's decisions will affect the community 10, 20, or 30 years from now. America's history is filled with examples of leaders who thought that way. Many of the public assets communities rely on today exist because previous generations were willing to invest in outcomes they would never personally benefit from. Public trust is the foundation of community strength. When discussions turn to community development, attention often focuses on physical assets. Roads. Utilities. Public facilities. Business districts. All are important. Yet Vasselli believes one of the most valuable community assets is far less visible. Trust. Over the course of advising municipalities and public officials, he has seen firsthand how trust influences a community's ability to solve problems, attract investment, and navigate difficult decisions. Communities with strong public trust are often better positioned to handle change because residents have confidence in the institutions serving them. Trust creates stability. Stability creates confidence. Confidence creates opportunity. The strongest communities aren't communities without disagreement, Vasselli says. They're communities where enough trust exists to work through disagreement productively. That principle has remained consistent throughout American history. Resilience begins long before a crisis. One lesson that emerges repeatedly in municipal governance is that resilience is rarely created during a crisis. It is created beforehand. Vasselli has written extensively about the importance of proactive leadership, infrastructure planning, and risk management. In his experience, communities that respond most effectively to challenges are usually the communities that invested in preparation long before those challenges emerge. Economic downturns. Population shifts. Infrastructure demands. Unexpected emergencies. Every community encounters obstacles. The difference is often whether leaders anticipated those challenges before they arrive. The communities that perform best are usually not the communities without risks, Vasselli says. They're the communities that identify risks early and address them before they become larger problems. That philosophy has guided successful communities throughout American history. Civic engagement creates continuity. These strong communities are not built solely by elected officials. They never have been. America's local governments have always depended on residents willing to participate in civic life and invest in the future of their communities. That participation creates continuity between generations. It helps preserve institutional knowledge. It strengthens local organizations. It reinforces the sense of shared responsibility that successful communities require. According to Vasselli, communities are strongest when residents view themselves as stakeholders rather than spectators. People support what they help build. They protect what they feel connected to. They invest in what they believe belongs to them. That dynamic has helped communities thrive for generations. The next 250 years are being shaped today. America's 250th birthday is more than a historical milestone. It is an opportunity to think about responsibility. Every generation inherits communities it did not build, roads it did not pave, institutions it did not create, opportunities it did not generate. The question is what each generation chooses to leave behind. For Vasselli, that may be the most important lesson local leaders can take from America's first 250 years. The communities that endure are the ones where leaders understand they are building for people they may never meet, he says. That's what stewardship really means. America's strongest communities have never been built by people focused solely on the present. They have been built by people willing to accept responsibility for a future they may never personally see. As the nation begins its next 250 years, that lesson may matter more than ever. About James M. Vasselli. James M. Vasselli is the principal attorney of Vasselli Law, LLC. With more than 2 decades of experience in municipal law, real estate, construction, and public policy, he advises municipalities, public officials, businesses, and property owners on matters involving governance, land use, zoning, economic development, infrastructure planning, regulatory compliance, and municipal operations. Throughout his career, Vasselli has worked closely with local governments across Illinois, helping communities navigate complex challenges while balancing growth, public accountability, and long-term planning. His work focuses on providing practical legal guidance that supports responsible development, effective governance, and strong community foundations. A graduate of DePaul University College of Law and a member of the Illinois Bar since 2000, Vasselli is recognized for his commitment to municipal excellence, strategic problem-solving, and public service.